Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grimflare, and I hope you're all doing very well today. I'm coming to you with some live content, some competitive league action for you, live recorded as opposed to the replay format. I know that a lot of people like the replays. I know a lot of people like live. I know many others just like good gameplay with our favorite deck, Golgari Midrange, no matter how you get it. But we're going to try to mix it up today, bring the people some live content, and while we're loading into our first match, let us thank our brand new patrons, Sal, Malacola, or Malicola. Those are my two best attempts at your name, my friend, but in any case, Sal is our newest patron. Sal is an Inquisitor. Familiar face from the BG Rock group is Sal, so thank you so much, my friend, for supporting the content. Thank you, of course, to all patrons out there. Now, let's take a look at this hand. We're on the draw, and I think it's a pretty good one. It's a little bit clustered around the 2-drop slot, but lots of interaction in a blind game one. Seems good to me. And, of course, Dark Confidant can, in theory, be the one to run away with the game. We'll have to see what we're up against, of course, but okay, humans. Well, that's a bit annoying to not have any good turn one play. However, most of our interaction is going to do just fine here, so we will run out the Marsh Flats and pass, planning to just fetch an Overgrown Tomb on the end step. Better to run that out than the Catacombs here. We should not need the game log for this matchup. Alright, so opponent's got a Kite Sail Freebooter. It's going to take away something, but that's fine. We can get it back. Do remember that you can respond to the Freebooter trigger based on how it's templated. Unlike older cards like Tide Hollow Sculler, I've mentioned that a couple times now on this channel at various points, but it's good to always remind people of that. It's because this is all one ability, basically. So it doesn't matter too much, probably, what the opponent takes here, because I think we're more or less priced into using our next turn for removal. And, you know, ramping them's not ideal, but hey. Now the other option here, I guess, is to... well, we'll see what we draw. We'll see what we draw. Alright, we draw a forest, huh? Interesting. Interesting. So, yeah, I think we can afford to develop a little bit more slowly here, so I'm just going to play a land and pass. Plan to trophy away that freebooter. They've got a Noble Hierarch, sure. So our ramp, the fact that we're ramping them is not that big a deal, so I suppose we just let them go to the main phase. We made sure we let them attack there, that way they can't just swing in with the Hierarch and get a point of damage. They're pretty obligated to attack solo there, of course, with the freebooter. Make us spend the removal here. Opponent's taking a sweet old time here. You know, you wonder if they've got another freebooter or something to to follow up eventually, things could potentially get a little bit awkward, but, you know, we're making our land drops, we've got good gas in hand. Really just don't want to get run over here. And getting this collective brutality back early, the earlier the better, basically, with that card. You do know that these humans can sometimes grow out of kill range as far as brutality is concerned. Second main phase Mantis Rider. Okay, that is that is fine with me. Alright, so we unfortunately cannot have a double spell turn here. But I think Rider is a big enough deal that we just plan to trophy it away. So, little underwhelming, but we're keeping pace with the opponent this way. And again, we have the gas in hand, so we do know how humans can grind, but alrighty. Okay, once more, we just let them make their attack first. It's interesting that they left their vial on too, but they never actually vialed anything in on the end step last turn. Alright, we do see that they have a second basic land, which is typical, but I played against a deck in a recent league where they only ran one basic. They've got another Ether Vial, sure, and pass. Wow. Alright. Our draws are not the best at the moment, but we are at least, you know, here at turn 4 without having taken any damage from the opponent. So, I guess it's time to simply play out our creatures. And then send it back to the opponent. So I feel like we're in a pretty good spot, but again, you know, always gotta respect the human's ability to continue chaining threats together. They play a very high threat count. They play redraws in the form of Horizon Canopy. Militia Bugler has fallen out of favor, but, you know, you never know. They could be playing technology like that, so. Alright, Mountain Master 13. What you got for us, my friend? Reflector Mage here might be on the cards. It's a hardcast Kitesail freebooter. Alright, they have a Vial on 3 and 1. So there goes our brutality. That's not great, but... Oh, is this the follow-up Reflector? Yeah, okay, so see, this is what I mean. It's a pretty good little sequence. And oh, wow. Okay. Well then, that is quite backbreaking. And we... unfortunately, are flooding quite hard, so Hissing Quagmire pass is all we can manage here. You know, this is not the end of the world. At least we got the those reflectors out of the way nice and early. You know, if they've already put you under pressure and then they're able to hit some really well-timed reflectors, that can just tempo you out of the game. But, you know, at least this is the first swing they're making. That said, it's definitely not ideal. Alright, we draw Lily of the Veil. Well, I do like playing her here. Unfortunately, we cannot, once again, have the most mana-efficient turn, but I definitely think we play her rather than run both creatures back out. Okay, as expected, there goes the Hierarch, and yeah, I think it's just Tarmogoyf here. We'll sandbag lands for now. There are some worlds in which it makes sense to run out a land just because we do have a mana sink on the board. Yikes, Phantasmal Image. Okay, so they had a not the most aggressive start, but they've just got all the Reflector Mages, which of course are amazing against us in general, and against our progression especially. So, now it's not looking as good as it once did, my friends. Oh boy, the Thalia's Lieutenant off the top. Okay, well, this is the type of progression where there's not a whole lot we can do differently. Game 1, we draw Fatal Push, okay. So can we live if we go land, play the Bob, wait, is Tarmogoyf not locked out? Oh, was that an end-step Reflector Mage, so I can play my Tarmogoyf? Okay. So if we... I mean, if we take a hit from any of these 3 drops, we are just dead. So... we'll play it out, but we are simply dead, unfortunately. Unless, does Collective Brutality now, because it can't kill anything. So... if we push... we push the Freebooter, buy back Brutality, kill Thalia's Lieutenant, drain for 2. Still doesn't do it. Still doesn't do it, so we might as well simply play out the things they know about here. And just make them attack correctly, which I'm sure they will. Yeah, so this was a bit rough, my friends. We flooded a bit too much here at a crucial time. And these Reflector Mages in high numbers are pretty tough for us to beat, given the combination, given our low spell count, right? Because if we hadn't flooded so hard, either maybe we have another creature to hold off these attacks, or we have just more interaction to stay alive. Yep, good game. Okay, so game 1 can be tough against humans, but we do definitely improve more against them than they do against us in the sideboard. So we've got a lot of good things to do here. Pulse, EE, Finks, Deathmark, Collective Brutality, Last Hope, and Damnation are all varying degrees of awesome. And I don't think there's anything else we're too interested in here, so let's do that. Now we're going to be on the play, so that's going to change things. Play to draw, but either way, Thoughtseizes all come out here. Anything else we're not that thrilled about? This is a matchup where I think we want all 4 Lilies on the play, and probably fewer on the draw. I think we're going to trim 1 Bob, basically no matter what, and because we're on the play, We'll leave the rest in. I think a couple trackers can go without that really breaking our hearts here. And then, what else? What else? Are any of these sideboard cards just not that impressive? No, not really. I kind of like them all, to be honest. So, one further cut to make. You know what? Maybe 4 Lily is just a tad excessive, so let's go down to 3 Lily. And I think the setup looks really good. If we can take it to game 3, we will be on the draw, and then we'll be a little less interested in Bob and Lily. We'll probably bring back a couple trackers, but I like the setup. I've done similar in the past before, as you may have seen, against the human deck. Why, yes, I would like to play first. Okay, hand will do. The hand will do. The mana's a bit awkward, for sure, in many respects, but it is a keep. We've got a lot of power in here. Okay, opponent takes them all. I like that. And it was a mull. That was a scry to the top. And Ether Vial is still in the deck. Okay. I'm still going to fetch here on the end step because I clearly need an Overgrown Tomb here, so... Alright, Swamp is a fine draw, not ideal because we're still off of Finks. For now. But yeah, it's clearly Tarmogoyf time. Goyf can be a nice way to get ahead. And hopefully stay ahead here if they have kind of a, you know, like a turn 2 2-drop here, we can kill it. If they play a bunch of 1-drops, then EE is going to blow them out. So, either way, we are pretty happy to run out the Goyf. This looks like it might be Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. You know, when I wrote my scouting report for Patreon supporters on humans, every guide I saw said take out Ether Vials against BGX decks, but whenever I play humans, they seem to kind of just leave them in, so it is interesting. But, you know, there's this perception that BG Rock, I guess, plays... Oh, okay. What do we got here? Lieutenant and Champion, is it? BG Rock, yep, plays more at sorcery speed, so that might be why they want to leave their vials in. It's interesting either way. Alright, another swamp. Sure, I guess. So, if we... Do we just take our 2-for-1 here? Just take our clean 2-for-1? That'll put artifact and creature in the yard, make Goyf a nice 3-4. I suppose that is the play. That means we still have double spell in hand, double removal in hand, Kitchen Finks. Yeah, I like it. So, let's do that. No need to get too greedy with the EE. And I ran out the field there because there are some sequences in which we lead on field, like a field activation next turn. And then we want the swamp to follow up with. But Liliana the Veil's a good one, and that means we're not activating field. That means we are simply taking care of their whole entire board, I do believe. And yeah, I think this puts me far enough ahead that I want to do it all main phase. Just so they're... yeah. Yep. Alright, looking very good for us. Looks like another Reflector Mage. Sure enough, our favorite card. Okay. So, Dark Confidant, huh? Alright, so we can clearly get some gas out of their hand by ticking the Liliana up. So I suppose we're pretty happy to do that. The question is, what do we pitch? And maybe it is just the Bob. Then we can field them and trophy the Reflector to keep our Lily alive. I like this. So yeah, we'll pitch Dark Confidant here. They lose a Phantasmal Image. Sure, you got it. So this finally fixes our mana, so we can play Finks next turn if we so desire. And even though Reflector is not an ideal removal target, keeping Liliana alive here to Edict yet again is definitely worth doing. Militia Bugler is a good one. Revealing a Freebooter. Okay, well at least the Freebooter will whiff. And sadly, we cannot have a double spell turn if we want to play the Finks. So, I think all of these cards in my hand are good enough that we don't want to tick the Lily up. So let's not mess around. We'll simply Edict our opponent. And play out both of our creatures, both of which are pretty formidable at this stage. Their Freebooter, of course, will whiff if utilized here. Ooh, Deputy of Detention, that's a good one. Taking away Skoos. Alright. Inquisition was a great draw here. Lets us have a double spell turn yet again. Freebooter or Thalia? I guess we take the Thalia because it trades with Finks. Because it cuts Finks down, in fact. So, yeah, Thalia. Bye-bye. Tarmogoyf is now a 6/7. We'll attack first. And Kitchen Finks is a really nice follow-up here. I don't see us possibly losing from this stage. Sure enough, good game, opponent. We are indeed going to game 3, and like I said on the draw here, Lily of the Veil and Dark Confidant get a little less desirable, so I'm just going to go down to 2 of each, and I think just bringing back the Tireless Trackers is what we do here. It's not necessarily the most intuitive thing to say that Tracker is better on the draw, because, you know, in some ways it's not, but it's more that Tracker Tracker is maybe a little bit better than the third Liliana and the third Bob if we're on the draw. And those other cards are a little bit better if we're on the play, if that makes sense. Trying to decide about this hand. Turn 1 Fatal Push is amazing. Assassin's Trophy is great. I honestly think this might be a keep. If we mull to an unplayable 6, of course we can do better on a 6, but I really wish we had some utility in our land base here with this hand. But, strange as it sounds, I think this is actually a keep. I rate turn 1 push so highly. Sure, we're going to try it. Okay, Cavern Vial, sure. And we're rewarded for this keep because we have a really good payoff card in the form of Liliana the Last Hope that just showed up, so we want to just keep drawing gas off the top, of course. But we're off to a decent start as far as that goes. So at first I was kind of happy to see the Vial because it meant they're a little bit lighter on gas than they could have been. Now I'm less happy because it's harder to protect the Lily with a Vial, but still not the end of the world, I suppose. Another Blooming Marsh is quite poor, though. So we're just playing Draw-Go here. Okay. End step of Noble Hierarch. We don't care about that because we can kill her with a Liliana +1. Immediately cracking a Canopy. Well, that's kind of a good sign for us. Yeah, I think we just take this. And I'm actually pretty tempted to trophy away this Vial. The reason I don't think I'm going to is because we're just so light on gas. But if we had a more spell-dense hand, I think I would trophy away the Vial here and try to make it a Liliana game. But that's not fully reliable anyway because of Mantis Rider at this juncture, so I don't think we do. Really worth considering, though. So yeah, we just play out our Liliana here. Kill a Noble. See how far that gets us. If they have Athalia's Lieutenant to Violin in response, that's a bit of a blowout, but we gotta take our highest upside lines here, and that resolves. So, of course, they have good ways to pressure her now. Yeah, Vial on the end step is one of them. Freebooter. Okay. That could be very bad for us if they have another Freebooter to follow up. That would be the worst. There's a lot of things we want to fade here. Mantis Rider we want to fade. More Freebooters we want to fade. Tarmogoyf was an okay draw there. Phantasmal Image, yep. Okay, well, at least that'll actually just die to our Lily +1. That's cool. Sweet. Let's get our spell back. All right. Well, that was cool. And once more here, we are just going to leave the Vial be. We'll play out a Tarmogoyf. We're a little worried about Reflector Mage, so there's actually a world in which we would play either both Tarmogoyfs or neither Tarmogoyf. So let's actually think about that. Because if they've got the Reflector here, then that's obviously very annoying. Okay. Yeah, I'm changing my mind here. Changing my mind. I'm actually just gonna say go. Should have thought about that before I played my land, though. Because I should have played Verdant Catacombs, maybe to have fetch capabilities. Okay, Thalia I actually don't care about. This makes me running out an untapped land good. So yeah, here we're going to trophy you away, get our pushback. And if we... Oh, never mind, this doesn't really... Okay. Opponent scoops. Well, I was going to say that actually doesn't make my untapped land good because she taxes both spells. I can't push here. But pretty premature scoop from the opponent, it seems, because they still have 5 cards in hand and they still have a board state. Big problem for them, though, is that this card, Liliana the Last Hope, is just so good. My friends, I'm still very high on this card. I said this to somebody in the YouTube comments. I feel like I'm in a bit of a dwindling minority. A lot of people are cutting Liliana's, you know, going down to 1 in the 75, and maybe she's more often in the sideboard. I still really like to. They just can't beat her with some progressions. Like, she's just going to take up and kill a creature for the 3rd straight turn next turn. She's going to kill a Thalia. Like, they just... Unless they've got the beef to outsize her +1, it's not going to go well for them. So, good games, well played, and let's go to round 2. Oh, God. On the draw in the dark with Double Bob and 5 lands. You know, maybe I'm just feeling a little too optimistic because we just kept a Gaslight hand and won comprehensively last game, but I'm going to keep this because we have no idea what we're up against. So, it's a functional hand, kind of. We're just going to lose a lot of the time against a fair amount of decks. Okay, Celestial Colonnade. Well, we might have a shot here with Triple Bob against Colonnade. So yeah. We'll run out of Catacombs here, and I'm going to try to play quickly. You guys know how the clock can be with control. Alright, well, we're just jamming our bobs because we've got 3 of them, and we've got nothing else to do. Opt. No spell snare? No spell snare. Okay. Would have been really nice to be on the play with this hand against this opponent, given how it's panned out. But we're already getting Bob value, so that's good. Inquisition. And Thoughtseize. Alright, these are fine draws. So we'll attack. Inquisition gets negated. Alright. How much are we worried about Supreme Verdict? Probably not very much. So I actually think it's correct to play another Bob here. If we get verdicted, that's still technically just a 2 for 2 because the first Bob's already drawn us a card. But Supreme Verdict, not the most common card at all in blue-white control. I haven't looked at lists lately, but last I knew it was more like a one-of in the sideboards. Of course, the Blind Terminus is always a thing, but... Okay, they tap out for a Jace. And they Fate Seal themselves. Well, to be fair, that does keep the Jace around against 2 Bobs. But our card advantage is real. Okay. So, I think we do Thoughtseize now in case they have a Teferi to follow up, basically. Oh, the whiff. Well, that's annoying, but at the same time... Okay. Yeah, let's play Last Hope and just start ticking her up, I guess, as a win condition. Those were some kind of painful hits off of Bob. We took some damage. We're at 13. Plus 2 from our Thoughtseize. Something to watch out for here. As you guys might know, if you've seen my channel a fair amount, I'm not a big fan of these Celestial Colonnade matchups. I don't think we're favored. But my main deck configuration with 5 Lilianas, 4 Dark Confidant, 3 Tireless Tracker, and 3 Thoughtseize, rather than the 4-2 split of Inquisition Thoughtseize, does have some incidental percentage points against the Colonnade decks. In general, though, they're still not something I like to see. Especially when I'm recording live, you know, it's a little, you know, I like to explain my lines, I like to talk, and I can't necessarily do that while staying ahead on the clock as much as I'd like, but if the opponent keeps taking this long on every brainstorm, we might. Either way, this is an interesting one. We're going to see how far the double Dark Confidant can take us. Let's pull up the game log. Can't believe our Thoughtseize whiffed. That is kind of rough. Yeah, okay, path A, Bob, sure. Snap path the other one. All right. And they're going to play Flooded Strand. Okay, Kalitas is a pretty solid draw here. And I think that's what we're going for. Kalitas, tick the Lily up. If they've got yet another path, that's annoying, but we still also have Dark Confidant as a follow-up. Which I actually am going to hold on to in case they set up a Terminus on the top. I think that's the play, so we've got enough on board. We've got enough card advantage. I don't think, even though it's mana efficient, I don't think we need the Bob there. Interesting that the opponent got a basic Plains without doing anything with it there, that fetch, but who knows? I mean, they do have a lot of lands in hand, so there's a Field of Ruin. The flood is real though, but alright, let's attack. Or move to attacks. Let's just get this Jace off the field if we can. I guess I'm floating a mana in case I need to activate Kalitas here. Settle the wreckage. Oh, main deck settle. Yep. I don't have any basics. Come on, come on. Alright. Well, this has been a bit rough, my friends. However, we've still got some good things going on. Still got some stuff working in our favor. Don't know if our Liliana's going to get to ult with that Celestial Colonnade around, but all we can do is present enough threats like Bob and Hissing Quagmire to make it so they can't necessarily afford to attack with the Colonnade. You know, all this flooding on our end, and we couldn't draw a Field of Ruin, could we? It's a shame. And that Settle the Wreckage was brutal. You know, it's not something that is the most outlandish, but this Jace, man, this Jace putting in so much work. That decision to Fate Seal, very good one from the opponent, because Jace has been hanging on at 1 this whole time. Okay, what have we got now? Main phase. Does this mean Colonnade? Does this mean Teferi? Gideon of the Trials? Yikes. It's actually great for them right now because they hold up field and they shut off another attack. But they're Shocking and Hollowed Fountain, so they might also have Cryptic Command. Okay, well, come on, Bob. Tireless Tracker. Alright, we lead on the tracker here. If they tap out for Cryptic, we get to attack with Hissing Quagmire. Okay. Do we have another Overgrown Tomb? We sure do. Once again, I'm going to main phase these effects to force them to take action now if they have action to take, because I really want to attack with the Quagmire, but alright. So I guess there's attacking with the Quagmire forces them to field, but that's actually kind of bad for us. So we'll just take the Lily up. And we'll pass. Maybe we can crack clues to find removal for the Colonnade attack that might be coming our way next turn. Gideon could also get frisky. We'll see. They could also just Cryptic to bounce Liliana. If they have Cryptic, that's probably the line. Oh, Colonnade decks. You know, despite me being live, we are ahead on the clock. There's that. And we're going to get even further ahead on the clock this game, it seems, one way or another. They've got all the actions to take, not us. So I'm going to float mana there. And then I am going to crack 1 clue here on my end step. They will opt in response to my triggers, okay? Lily of the Veil, sure, that's pretty decent, I suppose. Okay, the Jace value. We've got all kinds of value from all kinds of permanents, but the Jace Brainstorm is what's keeping them in this game. But it's also what's keeping them behind on clock. And you know, it doesn't that often come down to the clock, especially in the competitive leagues, but you never know. You never know. Gotta take any line we can get. Yep. Path the Tracker, you got it. Snapcaster Mage, okay. Okay. Well, they've just got it all. They've just got it all. Now I assume Gideon gets fired up here. Yep. This is indestructible. So there's no point in even cracking our clue here. We will on the end step, though. All right. I guess we lead on the Inquisition. Somewhat reasonable window for it. They might have more removal in hand, for example. Do. Negated. Alright. Totally fine with me. So let's take up Kill the Snap. Let's play a Lily of the Veil. This fetch land is dead, so we're going to pitch that. Unfortunately, our opponent is very much ahead right now. Despite how good our progression has been, our opponent has just barely kept up with us with that Jace, and now they're pretty firmly ahead, I would say. You know, Celestial Colonnade. All this flood, no Field of Ruin. I know I already said that, but that is definitely pretty tough alongside the Gideon. So if they just decide to go for it and make us have something next turn, attack both our Lilianas, we are fairly dead. We can get something maybe on the crackback with Treetop, but we got a Vendilion Click out of their hand. That's actually really interesting. I almost said that when they countered, when I cast my Inquisition, I was like, if this forces like a Vendilion out of their hand, at least we can kill it with the Liliana +1. And they're just going to go for it, and of course we have flooded, so we have nothing in hand. So bad. Okay, dude. Yep. That's gonna just about be game. But we're gonna, of course, play it out. Eat up more clock, make them do the right things and all that. We're gonna finally get our vengeance on this Jace, maybe. Maybe. Okay, Scooz is an okay draw. Not great, but okay. After all this, they'll probably have their second Jace in hand. You just know it. Alright, Scooz. Spell Snare. Yeah, okay. Good times, good times. You know, that's unfortunate because the Scooz actually could have been a pretty reasonable chance at stabilizing there. Certainly would have gone a long way. Search for Azcanta. Yep. Field of Ruin. Well, That actually allows us to not die next turn. And it allows us to maybe somehow try to get this Gideon off the field this turn, which I guess we go for. Okay, Snapcaster Mage the Third. More than you usually tend to see in blue-white control, but they've certainly been excellent against us in this game one, my friends. There is no doubt about that. So we'll make him eat up some more clock here. All these planeswalkers hanging around at one life. One loyalty, rather. Very annoying. And that's going to do it. It was a good game. It really was, but, whoops. Gotta click OK here. But yeah, that's, I don't think we could have done anything differently as far as I can see. That's just what I mean about it being a bad matchup, really. Yeah, we had about all we could ask for. We had double bobs that stuck early. We got Liliana value, pretty significant Liliana value, including some kills on Snapcaster Mages. We had a nice coherent progression. We had some tracker value. Yeah, they just had answers right when they needed them at every turn, just kind of barely keeping up with us, and then their late game inevitability. A little bit too strong most times. So what do we do? Well, this is actually a matchup that gets worse after my my one sideboard change this month, because we no longer have Nissa. But that's alright. We're not teched out against blue-white control as much in our sideboard, nor should we really be, in my opinion, at the moment. So we have Liliana and Collective Brutality as options alongside Pulse and Fulminator. We definitely want those, Pulse and Fulminator. And, you know, we saw 3 Snapcaster Mages. They might even be on all 4, so what if we consider a Nile Spellbomb here as well? I think that's totally fine. That hits Search for Azcanta as well, so let's just consider all 8 of these cards and find out what we don't want. Well, we don't want Fatal Push. We might not want Abrupt Decay, although we did see Vendilion Click alongside Search for Azcanta, and Gideon of the Trials, actually. So I think, based on that, we actually leave the Decay in. We've seen enough CMC3 or fewer or less permanents that I do believe we leave that in here. Kalidas is pretty bad against blue-white. We can cut a Skooz pretty cleanly. Where does that leave us? We cut a land. Blooming Marsh is definitely the one. I think that's correct. That gives us 7 spots. I think we pretty clearly bring in these 6 cards. And then, do we like the second Brutality or the second Spellbomb? I still think it's the Brutality, but they are maybe a little less... They looked a little less instant and sorcery heavy than I'm used to seeing. But I still think that's probably better here, especially on the play. Looks good to me. Alright. Let's see if we can win this game here, and this is fine. It's not the best, but it's a fine keep. There's a lot not to like about this. We don't have hand disruption. We have 2 basics already in the opener. We don't want to see any, really, because they tax them so heavily. We want all the value out of their tax plays, but... Alright, Field of Ruin. So, this could be Spell Snare, but I think we're supposed to make them have that. Sure. Okay, so Goif down is fine. We really hope they just, for some reason, tap out to deal with the Goif, although that's unlikely. So, it's a lot... Yeah. Okay, let's just attack first, obviously. Alright. So the fact that they shocked in means we are unlikely to resolve our Liliana. So in this case, I don't think it's correct to make them have it. I'm going to wait at least one more turn. We probably don't want to let them get to Cryptic Command mana. That wouldn't be good. But I think we can give ourselves one more turn to draw to like a discard spell to clear the way. Field of Ruin, and they will pass. Okay. Alright, well, now I really wish I made them have it last turn, but we couldn't know we were going to draw that, right? So, I guess we're going to main phase her, because if they counter her, it'll grow the Goif. Wow. Alright, she resolves. What do we pick? I suppose it is just the second Liliana here. It's a good way to grow the Goif. And the rest of those cards are fairly solid against what I assume is a progression involving Planeswalkers. Otherwise, I don't know if there's much explanation for their sequencing here. Snapcaster, sure. Going aggro with a snap, you got it. Treetop Village. Alright, we'll pick a trophy here. And how good is it to protect the Liliana here? I don't think it's very good. I think we should attack. Partially because they're down to 13. Partially because they have so many ways to bounce the Goif or exile it or something. I just don't think it's a reliable plan to block the Snapcaster Mage. So, Treetop Village, pass to you. Another snap? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Snap is such an annoying card against us. Pressures Liliana so well. The 2-for-1 sucks. And on top of that, they've got the path. Sure. So, the big question here is, do we trophy a Snapcaster Mage to keep our Liliana alive? And I kind of think I'm supposed to. Because we're just not really accomplishing anything without her. Definitely seems really loose on paper, but I'm gonna call that a correct decision, given the context of the game and of our hand and all that. really just want to win this game, want to drag out this game and then win it, because then we're going to win on the clock. But the opponent's got a really strong follow-up here. I'm just hoping... Okay. Interesting. Move to the end step. Alright, so... I guess we just empty our hand here, then take Liliana up. So let's try to pulse this other snap away. And then I actually think I just take up, as good as Treetop Village is, we don't want to lose our Liliana to the Cryptic bounce trick. So let's take her up. They've got field anyway, they've probably got more spot removal. Okay, we just pass. Rest in Peace gets discarded. We need some help, though, my friends. They're ahead on cards, and they top deck better than we do. Oh, should have got Forest there. Misclick. Should, well, it could matter. I was going to say it shouldn't matter, but it could. Hieroglyphic Illumination. Man, I hate Celestial Colonnade decks. I really, really do. Here comes a Jace or a Teferi or a Gideon, maybe? Jace the Mind Sculptor. You got it. And we've used up a lot of our Planeswalker removal so far. Yep. This just sucks. We've lost. Yeah, we can't stay alive against the click anyway, so we're just going to edict it. I guess our only hope is if they brick from here on out, but Jace just doesn't really allow you to brick. They're going to Fate Seal. Yep, seems like the right time to start Fate Sealing. They bottomed a card and we find a Bob. Alright, let's try the Bob. No basics, no basics. And the Jace Fate Seal means that the win on the clock is no longer live, so we basically need to draw a trophy here, like now, trophy or pulse number 2. Is this Teferi? Tapping 5, untapping. 5 could just be a colonnade attack as well. Wow. Could we flood any harder? I don't know. That was not a dare, by the way, Shuffler. I know we can flood harder. I'm not asking for it. Alright, they left something on top. They play a Surge. We're pretty dead. Alright. Let's attack. Sweet. Okay, they Fate Seal to the top. That's should just about be GG. Is it another land? It's a Fulminator Mage. Yep. We're dead to the J-Salt, so... That was rough. That was rough. That was rough. I don't like these Colonnade decks, guys. I'm very happy they're not that much in the meta. I think that's one reason I had such good results last month, as I was not running into them. Let me know what you think, as always. I don't see anything that we did wrong there, but okay, this hand's fine in a blind game 1. We'll keep it. Opponent will mull. Mull all the way to 5. Okay, promising, promising. 5 Stride of the top. Wooded Foothills Pass. All right. This is Dredge, and it's Bloodghast, Dark Blast, Narcomoeba, Prized Amalgam. So the only safe thing to discard really is Narcomoeba. Well, very interesting. Uh-oh, opponent's fetching. They probably found a Faithless Looting. No, they found the looting right away. Okay, so it's going to be a real game here. Big question is, do we play the Goyf, or do we... Yeah, we've got to play the Goyf, because Dark Blast just kills Bob. It's tempting to... play the Bob to try to hit more land drops, I guess, for this Kalitas, but... Let's see if we can just power through the Goyf, hit our land drops naturally. Opponent dredges the Dark Blast back. Gets a Bloodghast on the field and passes. There's a Golgari Thug in the yard. So, pretty sure we are just playing another Tarmogoyf here. Which, to be fair, is pretty good. Okay, nothing very good in the yard for them right now. We're going to leave that fetch uncracked, so we have a higher chance to hit a land this turn. We don't hit a land, we hit a Liliana. Liliana's very bad here, to the point where I don't even think I'm going to play her. Let's attack with the Goyfs, see what happens. I think even putting a Bloodghast in the yard is kind of bad. I think I'd rather hold up Assassin's Trophy. It's very possible our Tarmogoyfs are just going to win us the game here, so... Yeah, I'll take the hit. Blood Crypt. Golgari Thug. Okay, that's just a blocker. I'm pretty happy to... Am I happy to trophy that away? Well, yeah. Yeah, I am. Because they're just dead on board. And they have to put a Narcomoeba on top here. Okay, good game. I mean, the opponent might not say it was a good game, but I'm happy. I'm happy, my friends. After that slog against blue-white control, it was nice to get a kind of free win game 1 against Dredge. So, what do we like to do here? Well, let's figure out what comes in. That is going to be, for sure, Grafdigger's Cage, Surgical Extraction, Nile Spellbomb. We've got lots and lots and lots of Grave Hate. Otherwise, there's not all that much that's super exciting. It's basically just a matter of finding out whether any of this stuff that can kind of stabilize you a little bit is any good compared to the main deck stuff. So I would put these cards in that category. But these 5 are the 5 we for sure want. And let's see what's bad. So what's bad are Lilianas of the Veil. Straight up, all 4 come out. And then from there, you know, it gets a little bit tricky. So Dark Confidant's very poor in a lot of ways, but he can help find the hate. And spot removal is very poor in a lot of ways, but it can pair well with Skoos or Kalitas or Grave Hate. So, I guess Assassin's Trophy is probably just the worst of all of those things. And Abrupt Decay is not much better. So if we take out those 4, Collective Brutality, sure, Kitchen, Damnation, definitely Damnation. I think 4 Bob is pretty sketchy too, so let's take out a Bob. And what of these 3? Maybe second Liliana, the Last Hope, is just way too clunky, so we'll play Pulse. We'll play Finks. A lot of these... Let's just make sure this looks good before we submit. A lot of these peripheral decisions are frankly not the most important ones you'll ever make. The match really lives and dies based on, number 1, the Dredge player's opening progression, and number 2, your really good cards, which are the 5 ones we brought in, plus Kalitas and Skoos. Opponent's gonna mulligan. Alright. If the opponent mulls, I'm gonna keep. Skoos can beat a non-busted start, and we saw how good Tarmogoyf is if they can't get going. So, if they kept 7, I would mulligan this, but I'm gonna try to keep this. And see if our soft hate gets us there. Okay, they do have a turn 1 play. So that is not great. It's not worth mulling aggressively for discard when we're on the draw here. Oh boy, they picked an Imp and an Amalgam. Yeah, we're in trouble. Maybe in trouble. We'll see. But if they hit good Dredges, we are in trouble. And they hit a Creeping Chill, they hit Bloodghasts. Yeah, that's pretty good. If they have a land here, they're off to the races. Yep. Alright, so we kinda kept this to make them have it, and they do indeed have it. Again, if I was on the play, I would probably have mulled more aggressively. So, alright. I think our highest upside line is to play Scavenging Ooze and pass, and then maybe we can use Fatal Push that we just drew to get back into the game if the Ooze lives and if they don't go too crazy next turn. Dark Blast. In the yard. Alright, just don't go too crazy this turn, my guy. and everything will be okay. Yeah, certainly not taking a block here. Looting. They're pitching a lightning axe? Did they have another one? Or do they think are they just not caring about Skoos? They've got to have another something, right? Stinky in the yard. I get that Bloodghast back. They're fetching immediately, which lets us play around Bloodghast better in the future, but probably means they have some kind of an answer here to Skoos. No, Life from the Loam. Alright. Well. Yeah, so we clearly have to eat the Stinkweed Imp. We can eat Imp, we can eat Life from the Loam. What we cannot do is push and then eat all of their good graveyard stuff. We can't quite manage that. Collective Brutality does not change our equation here at all. Oh, very interesting, very interesting. We also have to worry about, like, Dark Blast finishing off our Skoos next turn, actually, so we kind of have to plan to eat 2 creatures. So I think what we should do here is just push the Amalgam, eat the Stinkweed Imp. Say go. That way we can take a block on Bloodghast and not get killed by Dark Blast. We're letting them dredge with Life from the Loam, but I think that is the play here. And of course we've got a fetch for Revolt here. And I guess we need Swamp. Alright, let's see what else they have. Let's see if Skoos can stabilize. If we untap, I think we're in great shape. Without them going too crazy this turn. They dredge, they get a Narcomoeba, sure. Oh boy, so what does this attack mean? I think we've played around as much as we can play around. We don't want to just take that hit for free. So yeah, we'll assign a block. Is it just a free 2 because they can play a land and get the Bloodghast back? Could be. Interesting game here, my friends. They've got 8 cards in hand, so, you know, there's that. Conflagrate is always scary. It's a flashback, faithless looting. Yep. That it is. Getting rid of a couple lands. What else you got? Okay, return the Bloodghast. That's it. That's it. Alright. So they have nothing in the graveyard we care about except another looting. So I guess we should still eat that looting, though. Alright. So we're attacking with the U's. We gotta get proactive here. We're gonna play Tarmogoyf as a blocker. Or do we just sit back with Ooze for one more turn? You know what? Man, this is tough. Alright, change of plans. Change of plans. No attack with the Ooze. We'll play a field, and it is actually more mana efficient here to kill something with Collective Brutality than to play a Tarmogoyf, so I think that's what I'm supposed to do here. Yeah. So we're going to escalate, kill a Bloodghast, drain for 2. Pitch this Bob. Eat the Bloodghast, and we're going to let them have the looting. It also would have been interesting to eat our own Dark Confidant there to get up out of Lightning Axe range, but I don't think that would be correct. I think it's better to hold up a green source here. Opponent looks like they're getting frisky with the old Narcomoeba. The old Future Sight Narcomoeba. You got it. Alright, what is it gonna be, opponent? Is this a hard cast Stinkweed Imp? Sure. Alright, so end step. They didn't care to use that looting. I'm gonna leave it there for now. I'm gonna eat my own Bob. Or just gaining a life, getting out of Lightning Axe range. If they have it here, they have it here. I mean, again, they already pitched one. I don't think we can play around it in general. They really do have it here? Interesting. Okay. Kalidas. Well, that's a decent top deck. Unfortunately, we don't have interaction to follow him up, but... Actually, if we go Tarmogoyf here, and then play Kalidas next turn, that's like just as... That's like better than having interaction. Not necessarily better, but probably better than slamming the Kalidas here, than hoping to top deck some interaction. Okay, they're dredging, you know, they can really put some good stuff together from here, there's no question about it. But we haven't really found any hard grave hate, and we're still really in this game. Expect the Narcomoeba at least to attack. They'll send in a gas too. Once again, we can't afford to take those incidental points of damage, so we do assign the block, even knowing they could have, you know, a third Lightning Axe, or it makes it conflagrate slightly better, or something like that. We still assign those blocks in this situation, I would say. It does get the Bloodghast in the yard to return the prized Amalgam. Oh boy. Wow, that was, they've got the Conflagrate now. Okay, so now would be the time for some Some Nile Spellbomb action off the top. But, you know, this Kalitas is definitely still... Ooh, Pulse off the top. So we are actually punished for not playing the Kalitas last turn. Now, here's the thing. So... That Conflagrate is so annoying. Conflagrate is truly, truly annoying. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 power on board. If they Conflagrate us next turn, they've got 6 cards in hand, 2 to kill the Kalitas. Or they can just go to face and... My whole plan here was to put the Kalitas down, attack with at least one Tarmogoyf, and say, alright, can you beat this board? Can you beat these replacement effects? I still think that might be our best plan. But... You know, they're going to dredge a life from the Loam, I assume. They'll get the Loam back. They'll have a massive Conflagrate. But I don't think casting this Maelstrom Pulse gets us anywhere. So, Kalitas it is. Not this turn, anyway. The Maelstrom Pulse might get us there next turn. So I wonder, you know, again, I say we're punished for not playing the Kalitas because we did draw interaction, but the fact that they have Conflagrate in the yard now, how good would this Pulse really be? Ooh, Creeping Chill. That's brutal. That might just give them lethal here. In fact, if they play it correctly, it really should. Oh well, you know, we kept a borderline hand, I think informed by their mulligan decision. We almost got there. So... I guess we assign a double black here. Take that, Bloodghast. Did the opponent just punt by attacking with that Bloodghast? Holy moly, the opponent punted by attacking with the Bloodghast. Okay. Opponent says lol shouldn't watch Netflix at the same time. Very true, my friend. Very true. And that is game. I'll say, I guess so. Good game, well played anyway. Wow. Wow, the opponent's punt. The opponent's punt keeps us in it. That's why we, you know, I think scooping to all the blue-white control crap was totally fine, but if it's a close one like this, where the opponent can realistically make a mistake, especially where it involves the combat step, this is why I don't like scooping, my friends. And we definitely... I think we earned... We earned our place in that match. We earned our way to the point where we forced them to make a lot of decisions, and sometimes that just goes our way. Wow. Wow. Okay, we'll take it. The 2-0 over Dredge. The 2-0 over Dredge, and we are 2-1 in this league. Let's try to get a win here, then we will at least have cashed the league. And then the pressure's off. Then we can punt game match 5 to our heart's content. We're getting some pretty poor opening hands, but once again, we don't know what we need. The opponent mulls. I think that's our sign to keep a hand like this. We're just, like, not seeing 1-mana interaction, and we're on the draw a lot. We're on low gas hands a lot, but you know what? So far, it's been okay. So far, it's worked out okay. Opponent will scry to the top. Okay, it's Burn. Mountain Swifty pass to us. We draw Thoughtseize. Well, that is definitely a lot worse than Inquisition. But we still cast it. We still casted it in this spot. Spike, Spike, Helix. So there actually is a concern for taking a Spike here because they can have a double spell turn if we don't next turn, and I think we actually do. We don't care about the life gainer at all in this situation, so I think taking a Spike is actually correct there. Little unorthodox, perhaps, but... So the opponent's probably going to just shock in and Helix us. Yep. Dark Confidants are not very appealing draws here at all. It's a good question whether we want the Goyf or whether we want the trophy here for Swifty. I think it's Goyf because I think we need to start ending this game as soon as possible. So we've got to run out the Goyf here. I think we'd be in pretty okay shape if that Thoughtseize had been an Inquisition, or if we had drawn, like, other good spells here that were not Dark Confidants for our couple draws. As it is, this game could really go against us, but... third Dark Confidant. You're not serious. You're not serious. Okay, we've got to attack. No blocks, so we're going to trophy. Grow the Goyf. Obviously, this gets a little bit worse against, like, a top-deck Goblin Guide or whatever, but we can't play around that. We're dead to a lot of just, like, regular burn off the top. So, we've got to take our high-risk, high-reward lines here. We've certainly just got to attack with Tarmogoyf. Hopefully the opponent just floods. Oh, Scooz! Scooz is a great draw. Scooz is a great draw here. Alright, there's hope. So... unfortunately, there is only one creature in the yard, so maybe it's not that great. Let's attack. So we'll play it. And yeah, because there's no... second creature to eat, I guess we just pass at least to their upkeep. Or maybe we respond to their fetch land activation if they have one. Sure, why not? Eat your Swifty. I can't believe we've drawn triple Bob in the burn match. How miserable. How miserable. So we are just dead to double burn spell here, but we're making him have it. This is this a Searing Blaze? That would be a little rough. Yep. That's quite bad. And that's even worse. Lightning Bolt will take us down. Well, you know... you draw Thoughtseize and 3 Bobs against Burn. We are on the draw. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? That was close. It really was. They were totally top-decking. They top-decked the Lightning Bolt. We had them in top-deck mode. We had a Tarmogoyf for a 3-turn clock. Yeah, just didn't get there. So, you guys know the drill against Burn. Kitchen Finks and Collective Brutality are our best cards. Fulminator Mage is surprisingly useful. And then Engineered Explosives and Maelstrom Pulse are just kind of like not dead. So they are better than Thoughtseizes and Dark Confidants, which are Sometimes actively bad, sometimes very, very suboptimal. It's about all there is to say about the burn match with this configuration. And I do feel favored against burn, but, you know, the game ones are sometimes the toughest ones. And it does suck to lose the game one, because then you know you're playing another match on the draw, for sure, no matter what happens, or you're just losing. Another game, I mean. Oh boy. This hand is too slow. It doesn't have double black. It's a mull. Alright, this one is decent. It's decent. I stress decent. That's a for sure bottom. Well, we need some help, but we have two excellent cards, Inquisition and Liliana. They have a 2-lander starting with a Goblin Guide, and they have double Eidolon. This is insane. And, oh, they have 4 creatures? What is this? What is this crap? Oh, God, this is like a hand I can't really beat. I don't think so. We either just... Taking the Goblin Guide is taking away the most damage they can muster now. Or taking away an Eidolon plays of the long game, but I think we actually have to take away Guide. Oh my goodness, that is a terrifying hand. Okay, come on, Collective Brutality. Fatal Push is okay. We'll take the Fatal Push. So we're going to push into Edict. I assume they are Eidoloning us next turn. If not, that's actually great. If they want to, like... The best thing they could do here is cast a burn spell, from our perspective. So, of course, here's the Eidolon follow-up that we expected, but, you know, we're not totally out of it. We just need some decent draws. Treetop Village is not what I would qualify as a decent draw right now. So let's get our field out there. And we do have to Edict that away. We're just simply never beating 2 of them. Okay, really hoping for Finks or Brutality sometime in the next couple turns. Maybe, you know, we want to fade a 1-mana creature right now. Eidolon. Pass. Okay. Yeah, so taking up the Lily is going to get some gas out of their hand. We pitch Swamp. Searing Blaze goes bye-bye. Okay. So, this is a super interesting spot. Because if we play the Fulminator and immediately Wasteland them, that takes them off of a lot of other plays. But... And it's very bad to leave the Fulminator against a lot of other plays, but I don't think... I mean, the Eidolon itself is just such a beating right now, so I think we have to leave the Fulminator and use it as a Grey Ogre. Gotta try to protect the Lily, at least make them point a burn spell at Lily. That would go a decent way toward allowing us to participate in this game with the hope of coming away victorious. We've got some good lands on the field. Field of Ruin is decent here. Treetop Village is decent here. Opponent looks like they're in a bit of an interesting spot of their own. And it's a shame that we kind of need this Fulminator to trade here, because in an alternative parallel universe, we could have fulminated them and fielded them, and then they would be on 1 red mana rather than 2 dual lands. Very much shutting off a good amount of their plays, especially post-board. Sorry, text message. Okay, opponent moves to the main... moves out of their main phase. Okay, we're going to try to take this trade. Yeah, fine with me. Does the opponent point a burn spell at Lily here? I would imagine so, but... you know, if they've got other plans, they've got other plans. But either way, we have so far battled through an extremely powerful burn hand with a pretty solid position. Okay. Lava Spike us and Skewer Lily. Okay, that's great for them. Sadly. Okay, so if we run out Forest, we can field them and then attack with Treetop, but that's pretty bad. We should hold on to this Forest for the purposes of collective brutality. Of course, they have a Skullcrack in hand, so that's annoying, but first we need to draw Brutality to make that matter. Oh, we draw Finks and they have the Skullcrack in hand. What do we do? I don't know what we do. I guess we just play it because they're gonna they don't have the mana to Skullcrack us and kill it. So, yeah. I don't think waiting for, like, to hope to draw a discard spell or something is any good there. I think we're supposed to just... ooh, scoozy. Alright. So, the opponent has Eidolon, Swifty, Goblin Guide, double... yeah, many creatures to feast upon in the yard, so... we'll attack with Finks here. Couple good top decks for us, Finks and Skoos, even though they had the answer. So, what if they have another Skullcrack? If they have another Skullcrack, we gain 1 life with Skoos. That's pretty safe, because we can gain 2 more in response to the Skullcrack, so I guess we're main phasing this. And if it resolves, if this ability just resolves, then we're in pretty good shape as well. Okay, so that resolved. Do we go for the other one? Again, I think we do while they're still only on 2 mana. Alright, opponent scoops, so definitely Had some nice help from the top of our deck, my friends. No question at all about that. Oh, I will be right back. Might edit this part out. Okay, we're back, and we're just submitting the same thing. We don't have enough options for this matchup to have anything change play versus draw, basically. So, all right, we take it to Game 3 against Burn. This is the tougher one. We'll be on the draw, of course. And look at this tilt. We have Collective Brutality and no black land. I still think this is actually a keep. We're on the draw. We have 2 chances to hit the black land on curve, and if not, we still have Tarmogoyf. This hand is good enough that I think it's a keep. With the opponent mulling, sure. Don't get me wrong, there are risks involved, but there are also, of course, risks involved with going down to 6. Show us a Blooming Marsh Goblin Guide. It's a Fulminator Mage. Yikes. Okay, well, at least they're giving us more chances to hit those land drops, right? Goblin Guide start is a little bit scary. For obvious reasons. Rift Bolt. Looks like they have a 1-lander. Oh my goodness, we've got nothing. Okay, we play out our Tarmogoyf. We're getting punished hard for a fairly reasonable keep. Tarmogoyf can die to a million different things here, including like land Searing Blaze would be the worst, but we've got to use our mana this turn. Oh, please don't let us just never draw black land and die. We can really catch up with Collective Brutality, but first we need that black land. We need it more than we've needed anything this whole series. Yes, Goblin Guide, yes. Shows us the swamp. Alright, we're in business. Okay, so it is definitely Collective Brutality time. They could have a Skullcrack to get rid of our life gain, but it's still going to be a really strong play, even if so. Even if that ends up being the case, so we've got to escalate all 3 times, no question. Let's just figure out what to pitch. So we probably can pitch one of our pieces of removal. I guess it should probably just be Maelstrom Pulse. And then I guess we're going to pitch Liliana the Last Hope? I mean, her buying back Tarmogoyf is fine, but I think she is our worst card, and we have a lot of double black cards we can't cast yet anyway, so sure. Escalate. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so we'll pitch Pulse, Last Hope. Boros Charm, yep, it's a good one. Lightning Bolt, Rift Bolt, Path to Exile. Don't care about the path, so Lightning Bolt, we'll just take the bolt. Oh, this is tense, my friends, this is tense. We can fix our mana next turn if we need to, and... oh, Rest in Peace, interesting. Okay. Tarmogoyf. Well, It's not very good with that Rest in Peace, but we can decay it if we need to. I think what we do here is just take them off of white while we can. Go get double black, that way we are slamming Liliana next turn if that's good. Exiling or suspending the Rift Bolt. You got it. Okay, we draw Skoos, so I guess it's still Liliana time. And we'll pick Tarmogoyf here. Their path to exile is probably going to go by the wayside here. Yes, it is. All right. We're down to 9. They have 2 in hand. And we're down to 6. They're empty-handed. So, okay. It's most mana efficient to play Fulminator. But it's probably better to end step decay the Rest in Peace and then untap and play Skoos. And do we even want to take... What if we don't take the Lily up? Then... Nah, you know what? Let's take the Lily up and pass. Hold on, sorry, I keep contradicting myself. There's actually a lot to think about, because if we are going to ult with Liliana, we can maybe take them off the Rest in Peace that way. Don't know how relevant that is. Maybe we just actually have to get this Skoos down this turn, while continuing to tick the Lily up, so we'll lose Trophy. We've got push for a creature off the top, and that's exactly what they have. Sweet. Okay. We're not going to use it this turn. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to Edict. But first we're going to decay the Rest in Peace. That way there is a creature to eat next turn. We're, of course, starved for green mana, but... And we're pretty safe to attack here, of course, because we've got push if they have another creature off the top, which we really hope they do, actually. That would be perfect. Except unless it's called Eidolon. That would be a little less perfect. Even that would be fine. We could just Edict it, I suppose. So yeah, show us a creature of one form or another, opponent. Show us that creature. They're going to bolt Skoos. Darn. Well, at least it's not coming at our face. Okay. Marsh Flats. Yeah, that's not great. Alright, so I guess we take up Picture Push. Play out our Fulminator, our Flats, and pass. We really need a big hitter off the top. Something that is going to catch us up. I guess we won't crack that till we need to. Blooming Marsh. Okay. Alright, let's tick up. See what the opponent does here. They will fetch in reply, getting a Foundry. And they're going to Boros Charm us. Yeah, that's pretty good. So, now what we have to do here is pitch our Blooming Marsh, because we need to keep this Fatal Push in hand, because now we're dead to a top-decked Goblin Guide if we don't. Okay, they've got another land. Fetch land. Kind of good for them. Do we fetch here? What's the difference? Only Monastery Swift Spear really is the difference between being at 1 and 2. So I'll go get an Overgrown Tomb on the end step. Trophy. Not very good. But does let us tick Liliana up pretty freely, I guess. For whatever that's worth. Are we gonna ult next turn? Who knows? Who knows? Alright, the opponent's bricking. And we draw Fulminator Mage. Cool, okay. I still don't have much hope at all for this, but I think we are supposed to ult here. Keeping her around to take up just doesn't accomplish anything. And of course, taking our own stuff up isn't great either. Yeah, they almost certainly have more duels to fetch. So, yeah, I'll just do it like this. And we just keep drawing Fulminators, which are a fine sideboard card, but of course, we want our meat and potatoes here. We want the Scoozes, we want the Finks, we want Collective Brutality, we want Tarmogoyf. Things like this. Okay, Hope Springs Eternal, and we just flood. Come on, deck, come on. Oh well. And we will run out the Marsh there, because it's good to hold it for Brutality, but it's also good to play it for Scooz, so I don't know what the opponent has in hand, maybe just another land. It's hard to say. We're so dead to so many things. But the game goes on. Oh, another trophy, huh? So there is a line wherein we trophy the fetch land, they go to fetch in response, then we trophy that. I don't think that's correct, because we have to keep at least one piece of removal in our hand for a top-decked creature. And therefore, we might as well keep both, because using just one trophy doesn't do anything. And they just finally find a burn spell and we're dead. So that was a little agonizing, my friends. We just drew so dead for so long. And to be fair, so did they, but we couldn't find a good threat. We couldn't find a good threat. I think our keep was fine. We have a pretty decent chance of hitting that black land earlier than we did, especially with the Goblin Guide. So basically my thinking was the Goblin Guide increases our odds even more, And if they don't have the Goblin Guide, well, then they have a much slower start, of course. But they had the guide, and it didn't help us find the black land on curve, so that was a bit rough. And then the power of our hand was still pretty real. We still could, in theory, have caught up there, but we just drew 2 dead for too long. The only really good card we found was Skoos, and of course we only had 1 green source by the time we found the old Skoozer, so tough breaks. This is the first time I've lost to Burn, I think, ever in a competitive league. It's definitely not that good of a matchup where you shouldn't lose it, but it's not one I'm used to losing, and even so, you know, it was still pretty close, so well done to the opponent. Alright, let's try to cash the league here. We're 2-2. Fish Masterino, does this mean we're against Merfolk? I don't know, but we have a nice balanced hand. Definite keep. But once again, we're on the draw. Losing all the die rolls today, boys and girls, but that is all right. That is all right. Eldrazi Temple, that's not Merfolk. Okay. Temple Vial, Eldrazi, and taxes. Or so it would seem. So, Inquisition here should be pretty good. Mono white Eldrazi and taxes, they have Thalia, Leonin Arbiter, Eldrazi Displacer. So, I don't care about the Arbiter unless they find a Ghost Quarter. If they find a Ghost Quarter, that's bad. I don't care about the Thalia yet because I can push her next turn, and I just have like a lot of creatures in hand anyway. So I think we take the Displacer here. I will regret this if they rip a Ghost Quarter like in the first couple turns, but I think we take the more powerful card, especially because they've got the Temple to make it come out ahead of curve and activate, cheat on its activation cost and all that stuff. So if they played the Arbiter, I could just play Quagmire and push it. If they play the Thalia, I can push her, but Dark Confidant's a pretty good draw. I guess I should play him, huh? We'll respect our life total here enough to get a basic. Alright, once again, we hope to fade Ghost Quarter. Thought-Knot Seer here is pretty good, too, if they just have a third land in general, but there's nothing we could really do about that. Okay. Arbiter Path is also great. But that's fine, I guess. Another Dark Confidant. Alright, so do we... They've got Thought-Knot plus 1 unknown in hand. I think we're kind of actually supposed to make sure we're not falling too far behind on board here, so now I think I just hold up Fatal Push and pass. We've got a lot of threats in hand, but we're very clunky. Very clunky. If they drew a Flicker Wisp, this is pretty bad. Yeah, let's make him have it. Oh no, really? Stonecloaker. Bouncing Arbiter? Okay, you got it. 3/2 Flash Flying. This guy's a strong beater, too. Exiles a card from a graveyard on top of all that. Pretty spicy. Yeah, maybe I should have pushed while they were tapped out, actually, but, you know. I get to replay Arbiter, yep. Collective Brutality. Okay, well, I think we need to definitely main phase that. Again, we're super clunky here. So, who do we kill? And we'll escalate just to drain. I think we kill the Stonecloaker, just because it's the best beater, although killing Arbiter is kind of tempting too. I'm just afraid of Ghost Quarter, but I think we just maybe accept that the Ghost Quarter will just beat us. So, let's kill the Stonecloaker. Drain for 2. And Bob is a little bit... We're a little bit behind in many ways for Bob to be good, so... So, even though, again, you could argue that I should have pushed in my main phase, they would then have had Stonecloaker for my Collective Brutality this turn. So, I don't think it changed anything, but, of course, that's a little bit hard to say. Oh boy, Kitchen thinks, and then Vial goes up to 4, they're going to have to Vial in their Thought-Knots here, maybe. I mean, that's going to be pretty good as well, but... Basically, we need a land for this Kalitas. We need a land that's untapped for this Kalitas right now. Come on. Come on, deck. You gotta be kidding me. Blooming Marsh. Well, at least we can make a play here. But now they're gonna Vial in the Thought-Knot, take away Kalitas, and then we're gonna have a lot harder time stabilizing. It can still maybe be done, but... Okay, they crack their Canopy. So we're getting hit here for 9. Yeah, I mean, we've got to take a block. Draw step, Thought-Knot. Yep. Yeah, we just let this resolve. And they do indeed take the Kalitas. So... Tracker into land is the obvious value play, but we just die if we do that. I mean, we might just be kind of dead no matter what, but we've got to lean on this clue. Fatal Push. Yeah, it still doesn't do it. Because we push the Thought-Knot, get a new card. I mean, let's just do it. But the Thalia tax is stopping us from having another push. Yep. Good game. Good game, good game. I mean, it's a strong curve out that they had, I guess. That Ether Vial is how a deck like this lives and dies. Mono white Eldrazi in taxes. What do we like? I think EE is pretty good on 2, and even maybe to kill Ether Vial. I think Finks is decent. Fulminator Mage is decent. We, of course, want Pulse and Damnation. Lily the Last Hope number 2 is decent to good. It's definitely worth considering. We'll play Deathmark, and we'll maybe play a second Collective Brutality, so let's say 4 for sure, 6 maybe. It's a mid-rangey, grindy type matchup, but I don't think we can cut a land, because they tax us and they play Leonin Arbiter. So, against these creature decks, I mean, Lily's great here, though, because they play so traditionally along the curve. So let's trim discard. I think trimming at least some discard is where to start. I think trimming 1 Bob is fine. Maybe more if we're on the draw, but 1 on the play. I think cutting 1 Scooz is fine. So what else is not in? Maybe Fulminator Mage is just not going to come in. So second Lily the Last Hope, second Collective Brutality, first Kitchen Finks. You know, they aggroed us out along the ground there, but that won't happen that often. I don't think Finks is necessary. They play Path to Exile anyway. So second Lily the Last Hope, second Collective Brutality. Do we like any of that better than anything we're doing here on the play? I don't necessarily know that we do. Maybe just another piece of discard isn't the best. So we'll cut a Thoughtseize here. We'll hedge our discard a little bit. And I think we're just going to play a second Last Hope. We are just going to really leverage our Planeswalkers as much as humanly possible here on the play. Then on the draw, we'll get a little bit more conservative with our curve and bring back like another discard spell, and a second Collective Brutality will come in as well. So here we're playing for the card quality game. I will play first. This is a good hand. We'll keep it. Opponent takes them all. And they scry to the top. So here we run out our Verdant Catacombs because they don't have a turn 1 creature to push almost certainly. And we want to get number 1, our Overgrown Tomb. Painless is pretty good here. But we also, more importantly, want to fetch before Leonin Arbiter enters the fray. Alright. Turn 2 Dark Confidant. Looking good. Looking mighty fine here on the play with all of this powerful removal to back him up. Gangzhou Castle is a spicy one. Bob gets ousted. Alright, well, it's not great, but it does give us a free window for our Liliana. It's bad if they have Thought-Knot Seer, kind of, but I don't think we can, like, just not play our Liliana in case they do, you know? She's so good against, like, anything else they could have here. Well, of course, it's the turn 3 Thought-Knot Seer. This is going to take away our Fatal Push, and our Decay can't hit it, so good times. Dark Confidant comes back into the fray. Well, at least Bob can threaten the trade, and I guess we just let them have that Eldrazi Temple for another turn, because we would rather hold up Abrupt Decay. If they have yet another Thought-Knot Seer, then they have yet another Thought-Knot Seer. I mean, we can't really, again, play around that. And what am I talking about? Bob can't threaten the trade here. It's a 2-1 versus a 2-3. I'm not blocking with Bob here if they attack. So, okay, pathing the Bob, sure. Alright, either they don't have anything else to do or they're just playing around our Abrupt Decay. Tireless Tracker is a great draw here. So it's an open question as to whether we field here or not, but I think not. I think not, because again, if they had another Thought Knot, they would have played it last turn. I'd rather hold up all of my effects here. Alright, very happy to see that tracker. So we're still in an okay position, even though they kind of had the ideal opening of Oust. Turn 2 Oust into turn 3 Thought Knot. See, as strange as that seems, that was excellent for them. Rest in peace. You got it? Selfless Spirit. Yes, sir. It's not very good on this particular board state. Yeah, I guess we'll just crack a clue instead of fielding, although either was viable there. Don't really want to give them another mana source quite yet, and I want to make sure I hit another land drop like I just did, so... I think we just, well, if we play Bob... Yeah. Alright. We're going to let the Thought Knot Seer stay big, but we kill the Selfless. Then we play Bob and we play defense. I'm pretty happy at this point to trade Tracker with Thought Knot, because we've come up ahead on lands already, on cards off of him for sure. Just trying to protect my Liliana at this point. Have inevitability with advantage here. Coming at Lily. Well, you know, she still lives, actually, if we take this hit. That's actually pretty interesting. You know what? Let's just take the hit, because she's going to live through it. Sure. I'll keep riding the tracker train to victory. In theory, hopefully. So our Abrupt Decay has looked a little silly against this Thought Knot Seer, but it is an out to Rest in Peace, and I bet it's an out to some things they have in their hand. I have to assume that's the case. Wrath of God. Well, that makes my play worse to not take the trade. I was definitely not expecting that. So, sure. Wrath is fine. We're going to get a clue first, though. Alright, Collective Brutality, sure. Tireless Tracker is another heck of a draw. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. So, we'll take up... Once again, we're not gonna attack this turn. We're not gonna get too crazy. We're just holding up all of our effects. We've had some, these trackers have been awesome. No question about it. Okay, the opponent can't beat it, so... We go to game 3. So our plan of winning with card quality here on the play seems to have panned out really well. Liliana, the Last Hope, Tireless Tracker, these were the cards that they really couldn't beat. They had answers to Dark Confidant, but they couldn't really answer the trackers before the value accrued to such a point that it was tough for them to come back. So on the draw, we can cut a Lily, and maybe we still want 3 Bob on the draw. They're not that aggressive, as you saw there, and Bob's quite nice. Maybe just shaving a Lily of the Veil, and maybe a second Lily the Last Hope. I mean, we saw Rest in Peace. But what do we bring? What are we bringing back if we cut Planeswalkers that's any good? Like, maybe I'm not that high on the second Collective Brutality because it's sorcery speed and because it's embarrassing against the Eldrazi, so we'll just leave the one main deck in, because we can leverage one, we probably don't want to see two. And one can kill Arbiter and Thalia early, which is huge. So maybe we just leave both Last Hopes in and bring back a discard spell. Sure, we'll bring back an Inquisition. We'll be hedged with two of each, and I think this is a pretty solid setup. I didn't see anything else that made me want necessarily Fulminator or Kitchen Finks, so let's do it. Alright, my friends, this is a huge game. If we win, we cash the league, we get a chest, and we come out positive. If we don't win, then we are out of luck. We come away with absolutely nothing. So, let's get the win. Let's get the win. Let's get a great opening hand. This is not a great opening hand. It's extremely powerful, but extremely slow and clunky. Ugh. What do we do? The opponent keeps 7. This hand just doesn't beat them on the draw. Doesn't beat them on the draw, we have to mull. Alright, this hand can beat them. Inquisition, Liliana, Damnation is great with 3 lands. 4th land, I think, will bottom. Gangzhou Castle, pass. Alright, let's go fetching before the Arbiter shows up. And I'll actually shock here. Leave our basics in the deck. They have a Pithing Needle, that's interesting. They have Arbiter and Ghost Quarter. I guess we just are kind of priced into taking this Arbiter, especially because their hand doesn't really do anything else till they hit land drops. They're going to have to blind name with Pithing Needle. Okay, I can buy that, so we'll take away Arbiter, and we will pass. There's that GQ. Okay, Hissing Quagmire, not the worst draw, because we do need 4 mana for a couple different reasons here. And it's technically action, so that's the play. Okay, let's hope the opponent bricks, huh? How nice would that be? Just brick for us, opponent. You can do it. Rest in peace. Okay. I don't care. And they're still only on 2 lands? Beautiful. Okay, so once again we shall resolve our Liliana on an empty board and start ticking up with her. I think, okay, there's Eldrazi Temple, here's Thought-Knot. I might just Damnation away this Thought-Knot next turn if they take my tracker. If they take Damnation, then it's going to be tracker into 2 clues. Okay. So, another land is bad. Bad, bad, bad. But I guess we're kind of priced into using this Damnation. If they have other Thought-Knots to follow up, that's bad. Yeah, I mean, it sucks because... It sucks for obvious reasons, but we're gonna do it. Okay, Maelstrom Pulse is a pretty good draw. So this is an out to Pithing Needle. If they decide to go like Pithing Needle, Blade Splicer, we can pulse the needle, take up, kill the Splicer. That's pretty good. Or if they just spend their turn on Needle, maybe we just pulse it anyway and just try to win the game with Liliana the Last Hope. They're only on 3 lands, and they... Yeah, I mean... I think it's time for Pulse, my friends. I think it is. So, do we want to Field of Ruin their Eldrazi Temple first? Probably. Alright, we're kind of all in on this Liliana the Last Hope now, and let us hope she gets there. Blade Splicer, playing right out into her. Oh, beautiful draw of Lily of the Veil. I was going to say if only this Deathmark could kill artifacts. Doesn't matter. The nut draw, my friends. The absolute nut draw. So... boom. Boom. And we'll run out this fetch, because next turn we're taking Lily up almost certainly. Alright, well, we're in a really good spot. Okay. Okay, opponent's got Restoration Angel mana, but... I have to assume we simply just make this emblem and we're not going to lose from here. Seems like that's pretty correct to me. Alright, so is holding Deathmark better, or is playing a Grizzly Bear better? I guess we'll tick up and see if for some reason they flash in the Resto in response. Yeah, whatever. I'm still actually going to keep the Deathmark because I have all the Grizzly Bears I'm ever going to need. They get rid of a Path to Exile, sure. So... doesn't really make sense to attack with Quagmire. Actually, yeah, it does, because they can set themselves back on lands if they want to GQ it. So sure, I can attack here. Alright, the emblem in action, my friends. The emblem in action. And they have to attack with the Resto here, I assume. Unfortunately, we don't have an instant speed answer, but we still have our emblem. We still have our emblem. Alright. We'll leave that fetch uncracked. I mean, the opponent might just have many Restos and, oh, Assassin's Trophy. Good draw. Good draw. So what we're going to do is we're a little bit shy on doing all three, like firing up the Quagmire, and holding up Trophy, and holding up Deathmark. So let's just attack with our zombies. If they flash in another Resto, then that's good for us. If they don't have anything to do, that's good for us too. If they have, like, Settle the Wreckage, they tap out for it. Another Resto. So this exiles target non-angel creature, sure. So we'll Trophy this one away. and then we're going to Deathmark the other. And I really don't know what they could possibly have that they're still playing this out against the emblem, but makes me a little nervous, not gonna lie. However, we shall see. Is that it? Or are they thinking, that is it? Alright, my friends, we did it. We came back, we got the 3-2, and while you have seen many better results for me than this 3-2, that was a really fun league. That was well played by all of our opponents, and we definitely had some sweet ones. We ran into blue-white control, which was unfortunate, and that went kind of as expected. Unfortunately, you know, even though we had some decent progressions, if they have decent progressions too, it's an uphill battle. It's not unwinnable, but it is an uphill battle. We also unfortunately dropped a match against Burn, and that is not something I'm used to doing, and that could easily have gone our way. They had the play, they had really strong hands. I think all 3 games they had really strong hands. And we had some clunk. We drew all those Confidants and Thought Seizes game 1, very unlucky. And in game 2 we got him. Game 3 that was a bit of a risky keep. And it kind of sort of paid off. I think it was a fine keep, and it would have paid off if our top decks had been as good as theirs. But they were not, so yeah, Burn can get you, and they got us here. But we took down the other 3 matches. We took down Humans and Dredge pretty comprehensively, and then we battled back here against the mono-white Eldrazi and Taxes. After kind of getting run over game 1, we won both post-sideboard games. So even though it's only a 3-2, this was still a really fun league, if you ask me, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Let us open the chest, see what we got. See what we got for our mighty 3-2 result in this competitive league. 10 play points, Chart a Course, and Soulblade Corruptor? Partner with Soulblade Renewer. Well, partner, that makes sense why I've never seen that card. It's not a standard legal card. Okay. Good times. So, anyway, this has been the first live recorded league that we've seen on this channel in a little while, maybe since the replays came back a couple months ago. So, as always, my friends, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like the replays or the live recorded stuff better. I know that there's some who prefer both, so I'm going to continue to do both no matter what. However, it's just always a good idea to get my finger on the pulse of everybody's preferences. So, thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to all of my Patreon supporters. We have the newest one to thank, Sal Molecola. It's got to be one of the two. Our buddy Sal, definitely want to thank him. He's the newest one. And for those who have not seen my more recent non-gameplay videos, let's also thank Mike Jin, the Argus, also Inquisitors, and Sang Su, who is of the Veil. So thank you all so much for supporting this content. Make sure to let me know if you saw any lines I could have taken differently. I'm always trying to learn and improve just as the rest of you are. So thanks again for watching, my friends. Stay tuned to the channel, and I will talk to you soon. Hope you have a great night.